The emergency alert came through while I was replacing the garbage disposal at the Tanaka place. Phone buzzed against my hip, that harsh tone they use for tornadoes and amber alerts. This is an emergency alert. Chemical leak reported Roosevelt High area. Avoid if not essential. This is not a test. Mrs. Tanaka kept talking about her book club, about how the disposal had been making that grinding noise for weeks, and I kept nodding while reading the alert 3 times. Chemical leak. Possible. Roosevelt High area. Avoid if not essential. Lucia was at Roosevelt High. Saturday detention for talking back to Mr. Brennan during Thursday's algebra class. The 3rd detention this semester because my daughter inherited my mouth and her mother's timing. 14 years old and already perfected the art of being right at exactly the wrong moment. I checked my phone. Text from Lucia sent 11 minutes ago. Dad, something weird happening at school. People acting sick. Tried calling. Straight to voicemail. Tried her mother. Voicemail. Mr. Reyes, did you hear what I said about the warranty? Yeah, Mrs. Tanaka, 5-year warranty, parts and labor. I was already packing my tools. Chemical leak at the high school. My daughter's there. Oh my goodness, is it serious? The alert said possible. Could mean anything. Could mean someone spilled bleach in the chemistry lab and some parent called 911. Could mean actual hazmat situation. But Lucia texted about people acting sick, not chemical smells or alarm bells. Probably nothing, I said, because that's what you say. But I should check. I left the disposal half installed, water still off, Mrs. Tanaka saying something about safety and first responders, and drove toward Roosevelt High because Lucia's mother wasn't answering and my daughter texted me, which meant it mattered. Lucia only texts when it matters. The street looked normal. Saturday morning suburbia, joggers, someone washing their car, the Chin family sprinklers going even though we're in a drought. Nothing chemical leakish about it. My truck's radio had the alert on repeat, but kept cutting to static between loops. Roosevelt High sits on Mockingbird and Elm, brick building from the 70s that I'd rewired the east wing of last year after they finally admitted the original electrical was a fire hazard. Took me 8 months working weekends. I know every breaker box, every junction, every emergency exit in that building. Know the maintenance tunnels. Know which doors have backup generators and which don't. That's why I'm not worried about getting in. That's why I'm not worried about getting out. Should have been worried. The parking lot had maybe 15 cars, detention kids, couple teachers, weekend janitor. My truck's the only one pulling in. Everyone else's hazard lights are on, but nobody's in the vehicles. Keys and ignitions. Doors open. One sedan playing the same emergency alert on loop through open windows. I grabbed my flashlight, Maglite, 3-pound steel, the kind that doubles as a weapon though I've never needed it for that. Check my phone again. No signal now. No bars. Just the emergency alert trying to push through. The main entrance was unlocked. Propped open with a backpack. Not normal, but Roosevelt has that Saturday volunteer security guard. Hector Martinez, retired cop, knows me from the rewiring job. Probably wedged the door when he stepped out for something. Inside smelled wrong. Not chemical wrong. Biology wrong. Like the time a rat died in the Chen's walls, and they didn't find it for a week. Copper and meat and something sweet that shouldn't be sweet. Hector? No answer. Just emergency lighting running on battery backup, casting everything yellow-gray. The trophy case along the main hall looked normal. 20 years of football championships, debate team photos, that robotics award Lucia's class 1 sophomore year. Wait. Freshman year. She's a freshman. 14. Detention on Saturday for talking back. Focus. Room 214 is 3rd floor, east wing. Take the main stairs, turn right, 30 seconds if I move fast. I've done emergency shutdowns in this building. I can do this. Something moved at the end of the hall. Pezon chapit. Wrong posture. Head tilted at an angle heads don't tilt, like their neck muscles forgot how to hold things up. Hey, you alright? They turned. Took me 3 seconds to recognize Hector Martinez. Took me 1 more second to understand he wasn't Hector anymore. His uniform was shredded down the left side. Deep gouges in his chest, bleeding slow and black instead of red. His eyes were open but filming over white, like cataracts spreading in real time. His jaw hung loose, not broken, just slack like someone had cut the strings. He looked at me, made eye contact. Then his mouth opened, and what came out wasn't words. I ran. Not brave, not tactical. Just ran back toward the main entrance because what I'd just seen wasn't something I had tools for. Wasn't something my electrical knowledge fixed. Wasn't something that made sense in any framework I understood. Hector followed, stumbling slow, arms reaching. Making that sound, half groan, half gurgle, wet and desperate. I made it to the entrance. Slammed the door. It didn't latch, backpack still wedging it. I kicked the backpack through, pulled the door shut, heard Hector hit it from the other side. The impact shook the glass, but it held. Through the door I watched Hector claw at it. Methodical. Persistent. Wrong. My phone buzzed. New text, somehow breaking through the signal death. Dad, where are you? I'm in 214 with Mrs. Pacheco and 3 other kids. Something's really wrong, please. Lucia. 3rd floor. East wing. Room 214. Between me and her, Hector, and however many other people were infected with whatever this was. Chemical leak doesn't make people's jaws hang wrong. Chemical leak doesn't make eyes film over white. But Lucia's up there. Mrs. Pacheco's up there, the math teacher who runs detention, who called me last month about Lucia's grades improving, who gave a damn. 3 other kids up there. The emergency alert cycled again. Update, hazmat teams responding. Shelter in place within 2-mile radius. Shelter in place. Stay away. Let the professionals handle it. Except Lucia texted me. Except I know this building. Except I've got maintenance access keys on my belt from the rewiring job. Keys that probably still work because the district never changes locks. Except I'm her father, and she asked me to come. I looked at Hector through the glass. He was still clawing. Still making that sound. Not getting tired. Not stopping. This wasn't a wiring problem. Wasn't something I could fix with tools. But maybe I didn't need to fix it. Maybe I just needed to get around it. The maintenance tunnels run under the whole school. I'd spent 3 weeks down there last year running new conduit. Entrance is around back, by the loading dock, secured with a master lock that the janitor kept losing the key to until I gave him the combination. 47-23-9, same as my union local number. From the tunnels I could access the east wing basement, take the service stairs straight up to 3rd floor, bypass Hector and whoever else was stumbling around the main halls. I ran back to my truck, grabbed my tool belt, my wire cutters, my voltage tester. Stupid probably, but they're what I know, what I trust. Grabbed the bolt cutters from the back in case the lock combination didn't work. The loading dock was clear. No infected. No Hector types stumbling around. Just loading pallets and that weird quiet you get in suburbs when something's wrong but nobody's screaming yet. The tunnel entrance was padlocked. I spun the combination, 47-23-9, and it opened. The universe giving me one tiny win. Down the ladder. 12 feet into darkness that smelled like concrete and rat poison and electrical insulation. My flashlight cut through the black, showing the path I'd walked 100 times last year. Main junction box 20 feet ahead. Conduit running along the ceiling. Service stairs to east wing another 40 feet past that. I moved fast. Not running. Running makes noise, but fast. Behind me, something scraped metal on concrete. I spun, flashlight up. Nothing. Just tunnel. Just shadows. Kept moving. The service stairs were right where I remembered. Steel door, push bar exit. Opens into the east wing basement near the boiler room. I hit the push bar. Door didn't budge. Locked from the inside. Of course locked from the inside. Fire code violation I'd reported last year that the district probably never fixed. I could force it. Bolt cutters through the locking mechanism. 10 minutes of work, maybe less. Or I could backtrack to the main junction, take the central stairs, risk running into more Hector types in the main halls. 10 minutes forcing the lock versus 30 seconds exposure in the halls. I chose the lock, because that's what I do. I fix things. I solve problems with tools and time and technical knowledge. Should have chosen the halls. The bolt cutters went through the locking mechanism in 7 minutes. Not 10. I'm good at this. 25 years good. The lock sheared clean, and the door swung open into the east wing basement, into darkness cut only by my flashlight. The boiler room looked normal. Pipes and valves, and that low hum of the heating system cycling, even though it's May and 70 degrees outside. I'd replaced the control panel 2 months ago. Digital thermostat, energy efficient. The principal made a big deal about the cost savings in the district newsletter. The service stairs were concrete, narrow, built in the 60s when fire codes were suggestions. They wound up 3 floors, no landings, just continuous climb. My flashlight showed graffiti on the walls, student stuff, crude and optimistic. Class of 2024. Brennan sucks. Lucia plus Devon forever, with a heart around it. That one stopped me. Lucia never mentioned to Devon. But she's 14 and I get her every other weekend and every Wednesday dinner. And there's a lot I probably don't know. A lot her mother knows that I don't. Keep moving. First floor landing, clear. Door locked from the stairwell side, which meant anyone in the main halls couldn't get in here. Good. Second floor landing, something wet on the floor. Dark and flashlight beam. I didn't touch it. Kept climbing. Third floor landing. The door was propped open with a fire extinguisher. Someone had been here. Someone had opened this door recently, wedged it, maybe went through, maybe came back. The emergency lighting in the hallway beyond was still working, casting that yellow-gray glow. I eased the door open wider. Listened. Voices. Muffled. Coming from down the hall. Young voices. Arguing about something. And under that, the wet gurgling sound. The sound Hector had made. But faster. More of them. I stepped into the hallway, tool belt jingling too loud, and the smell hit me full force. Copper and rot and that terrible sweetness. The walls were marked, long smears of something dark, hand height, like someone had dragged themselves along while bleeding. Room 214 was 40 feet ahead. Door closed. Light visible under the gap. Between me and 214, 3 people in the hallway. Not people. Not anymore. One was wearing a Roosevelt high football jersey. Number 47, Jackson's number. Kid who graduated last year, came back for something. His jersey was soaked black down the front. His face was gray-white. His eyes filmed over like Hector's, but his jaw wasn't slack. It was moving, chewing nothing, grinding like his body forgot what mouths were for. The other 2 were adults. Teacher and someone in custodial uniform. Both had the same gray skin, same filmed eyes, same wrong posture. But they weren't stumbling anymore. They were standing. Alert. Heads turning in sync, tracking something I couldn't see. I froze. Didn't breathe. Didn't move. The one in the football jersey turned toward me. Focused. His eyes were wrong, but he saw me. Then he ran. Not stumbled. Not shambled. Ran full sprint, arms pumping, coordination intact. The other 2 followed, moving fast, moving together, moving like they'd coordinated. I bolted for room 214. 40 feet. The door. Pounded on it. Lucia. The infected were 20 feet back. 15. 10. The door cracked open. Woman's voice. Get in, get in. I dove through. Hands grabbed me, pulled me inside. The door slammed. Someone threw the deadbolt, industrial grade, installed after the lockdown drills became mandatory. The infected hit the door 3 seconds later. The impact shook the frame, but the lock held. Dad. Lucia. Standing by the windows, detention slips still clutched in one hand. 14 years old, and trying not to cry and failing. I grabbed her. Hugged her too hard. She hugged back harder. You actually came. Mom said you'd just call the cops. Cops aren't answering. That was Mrs. Pacheco. 50-something, gray hair pulled back, blood on her cardigan sleeve. Cell service is down. Landlines are down. We tried the emergency intercom system. Nothing. I looked around. 5 people total, Lucia, Mrs. Pacheco, and 3 other kids. 2 boys, 1 girl. The boys were maybe 16, sitting against the far wall, one of them holding a makeshift bandage against the other's arm. The girl was 12 or 13, crying quietly in the corner. How many infected? I asked. Infected? Mrs. Pacheco looked at me. Is that what this is? We thought. Chemical leak, the alert said. It's not chemical. I saw Hector Martinez. I saw him change. Whatever this is, it's spreading person to person. Bites maybe. Contact. The kid with the bandaged arm flinched. His friend holding the bandage looked at me with eyes too wide. Show me the arm, I said. The friend hesitated, then moved his hand. The wound was deep, ragged, teeth marks clearly visible. The skin around it was already turning gray. That's from 20 minutes ago, Mrs. Pacheco said. When they first tried to break into the classroom, Brandon fought one off. Got bit. We cleaned it, bandaged it, but... How's he feeling? I asked Brandon. Brandon didn't answer. His eyes were glazing over. His jaw was starting to slacken. I pulled Lucia back, away from Brandon, away from his friend still sitting next to him. We need to isolate him. Now. Before. Brandon's head snapped up. His eyes were white. His jaw hung wrong. His friend screamed, Brandon N.O. Brandon lunged. Fast. Too fast. His friend tried to scramble back, but Brandon caught his shirt, pulled him close, bit down on his shoulder through the fabric. The third kid, the crying girl, bolted for the door. Started unlocking the deadbolt. "Don't." Mrs. Pacheco grabbed for her, but the girl was already turning the lock, yanking the door open. The infected from the hallway poured in. Football jersey first. Then the teacher. Then the custodian. All of them fast, all of them coordinated. I grabbed Lucia, shoved her toward the window. "Fire escape now." Mrs. Pacheco grabbed the girl who'd opened the door, dragged her back from the infected, threw her toward the windows. Brandon's friend was screaming. Brandon was on top of him. The infected from the hall were spreading into the room. The window, old style, crank open, fire escape right outside. I cranked it hard, pushed it open, felt the metal ladder shake under my hands. "Go, go, go." Lucia went first. Climbed down fast. Mrs. Pacheco shoved the crying girl through next, climbed out after her. I looked back at Brandon's friend, still screaming, still struggling, blood everywhere. I couldn't reach him. The infected were between us. Between him and the window. "I'm sorry," I said, but he couldn't hear me over his own screaming. I climbed through the window, pulled it shut behind me. The last thing I saw through the glass was Brandon's friend going still, his eyes starting to film over. The fire escape led down to the courtyard. Lucia was already at the bottom, waiting, shaking. The crying girl was frozen on the second-floor platform. Mrs. Pacheco was trying to coax her down. I climbed down fast. My tool belt caught on the railing. I yanked it free, lost my voltage tester, watched it fall 20 feet and shatter on concrete. "Dad, your truck, where's your truck?" "Front parking lot. But we can't go through the building. We need to circle around, stay outside." "The infected are in the building," Mrs. Pacheco said. She'd gotten the crying girl moving again, one step at a time. "Where else are they?" "Good question." I looked at the courtyard. Empty. I looked at the street beyond the fence. Also empty. No cars moving. No people. No sirens. The emergency alert should have brought half the county by now. Chemical leak at a school with people inside? Fire trucks, ambulances, news helicopters. But there was nothing. Just suburban quiet and spring sunshine, and the smell of cut grass from someone's Saturday morning lawn care. We reached the ground. I led them along the building's perimeter, staying close to the brick, moving toward the parking lot. The crying girl was still crying, quiet now, exhausted. "What's your name?" I asked her. "Natalie." "Okay, Natalie. We're going to my truck. It's a gray Ford F-150. Once we're there, we drive to the police station. We tell them everything. They'll know what to do." She nodded. Didn't believe me. I didn't believe me either. We rounded the corner toward the parking lot. My truck was there. Gray F-150, tool company logo on the side, Reyes Electrical in faded letters. All 4 tires were slashed. Flat. Rubber shredded. Deliberate. "Dad." I walked to the truck. Checked the damage. Someone had used a knife. Maybe multiple someones. All 4 tires destroyed. The tool company's spare was in the bed, but one spare didn't fix 4 flats. Who would? Someone who wanted to make sure nobody left, Mrs. Pacheco said. She was looking at the other vehicles. All of them had their tires slashed too. Every single one. When? Lucia asked. When did someone have time to? Before, I said. Before the infected. Before whatever this has started. Someone knew. Someone planned this. Mrs. Pacheco walked to the nearest sedan. Looked in the window. Keys in the ignition. Hazard lights running. Like someone was getting ready to leave and just abandoned it. The emergency alert cycled again on the sedan's radio. Urgent. Do not approach Roosevelt High. Unknown contamination. First responders reporting casualties. First responders reporting casualties. That was new. That wasn't on the first alert. How long ago was detention supposed to end? I asked. Noon, Mrs. Pacheco said. 2 hours ago. 2 hours. The first alert came through 2.5 hours ago. The infection spread through the building in less than 30 minutes. The tires were slashed before I arrived. First responders came and either died or fled. And we'd been trapped in room 214 through all of it. I tried to start my truck anyway. Engine turned over fine. But you can't drive on rims. You get maybe a quarter mile before the wheels seize. We need another vehicle, I said. Something with intact tires. We need. Glass shattered. Second floor window. Something fell through. Hit the ground hard. It stood up. Used to be human. Now it was gray-skinned and white-eyed and moving wrong. But it stood up, oriented on us, and ran. Move. We ran toward the street, past the fence, past the property line, into the suburban maze of houses and yards and streets I'd driven through 1,000 times. Behind us, more glass shattered. More infected followed. They were coordinating, hunting, not shambling anymore. And we were on foot in a neighborhood with no vehicles, no people, and no help coming. I know this area. Rewired the Brennan place 3 streets over. Fixed the Tanaka's disposal this morning. Know every house, every shortcut, every. Lucia grabbed my arm. Dad, the tunnels. You said maintenance tunnels run under the school. Where do they connect? District maintenance building, half a mile east. Do they have vehicles there? Vans, trucks, district fleet. Mrs. Pacheco was breathing hard, keeping pace, one hand on Natalie's shoulder. Can we get back to the tunnels? Loading dock entrance. If we can reach it before. Something moved in the Brennan's yard. Pezon chapit. Wrong shaped. More infected. Not from the school. From the neighborhood. This wasn't contained to Roosevelt High. This was spreading. Fast. We ran. The loading dock was chaos. 6 infected between us and the tunnel entrance. They weren't just standing around, they were positioned. Spread out. Covering angles like they understood tactics, like they'd learned from the first wave that was slow and clumsy. One of them had been the weekend custodian. Martinez. No, not Hector. Hector was the security guard. This was the other one, the younger guy, Esteban something. His uniform was torn. His skin had that gray-white pallor. His eyes filmed over but tracking, watching us from 40 feet away, watching us calculate options. Back door, I said. Kept my voice low. Service entrance near the cafeteria. We circle around, come at the tunnels from. Esteban's head snapped toward my voice. All 6 infected turned in unison. Synchronization. They were learning to coordinate. Dad, they heard you. I know. Move. Stay quiet. We backed away, slow, keeping the infected in sight. They didn't chase. Just watched. Waited. That's worse. That's so much worse than chasing. The service entrance was locked. Industrial deadbolt, the kind the district installed after that budget crisis meeting where they argued about security versus cost. I had a key for the main doors, but not this one. Can you pick it? Mrs. Pacheco asked. I'm an electrician, not a locksmith. You've got tools. For electrical work, not breaking and entering. Natalie was crying again. Not loud. Just tears running silent down her face. 14 years old, no 12 I think, and watching adults fail to solve problems. Watching the people supposed to protect her fail at the basics like opening doors and finding safe spaces. Lucia was watching the infected. They'd moved. Closer now. 20 feet away. Still not rushing. Still coordinating. They're hurting us, she said. What? Look. She pointed. They're not attacking. They're positioning. They're pushing us away from exits toward what? What's that direction? I looked. The direction they were hurting us led toward the gymnasium. Big open space. Multiple entrances. Easy to trap people there, easy to surround them, easy to. They're learning, Mrs. Pacheco said. Her voice had gone flat. The voice of someone recognizing something they don't want to recognize. This started, 3 hours ago? And they're already learning tactics. We need weapons, I said. Something more than. My tool belt. Bolt cutters. Wire strippers. Voltage tester gone, but I still had the maglite. 3 pounds of steel. Not enough. Not against 6 of them moving fast and coordinating. A window shattered somewhere inside the building. Then another. Then a whole series, glass breaking in sequence, moving closer. They're coming from inside now, Lucia said. We need to move, Dad. We need to. A door opened. Side entrance to the cafeteria. Not the locked service entrance. A different door, one I'd forgotten existed. A man stood there. Late 50s, gray beard, wearing a district maintenance uniform. Blood on his shirt, but his eyes were clear. Not infected. Not yet. In here. Fast. Before they regroup. I didn't recognize him, but he had the district logo on his uniform pocket, and he was human, and he was offering shelter. We ran. All 4 of us. Through the door, into the cafeteria kitchen. Industrial appliances, steel tables, the smell of old grease and industrial cleaner. The man slammed the door through the deadbolt. Name's Gutierrez. Head custodian. I've been tracking the infected through the security cameras since this started. The cameras still work? Mrs. Pacheco asked. Main office system is still up. Running on generator backup. I've been watching them spread, watching them learn. He led us through the kitchen, into a small office behind the dry storage. 3 monitors on a desk showing different angles of the school. The feeds showed infected everywhere. Hallways, classrooms, gymnasium. Dozens of them. Maybe 100. How many people were in the building when this started? I asked. 47. Students, teachers, security, maintenance. 47 people. Gutierrez pointed at the screens. Now there's 63 infected on camera. You do the math. The math said 16 people had come to the school after it started. Came for the same reason I did. Someone they cared about was inside. And got infected for their trouble. Emergency services? I asked. Gutierrez pulled up a different feed. Loading dock. Timestamp showed 90 minutes ago. 2 ambulances, 1 fire truck. Paramedics rushing in, then rushing back out. Then not rushing, stumbling, falling, not getting back up. One of them stood up wrong, jaw hanging slack, and attacked his partner. First responders came, Gutierrez said. Came fast. Got infected faster. That's when I locked myself in here. That's when I stopped believing anyone was going to fix this. The feed showed the ambulances still sitting in the loading dock. Doors open. Equipment scattered. Those ambulances have intact tires? I asked. Yeah, but you won't get keys. Paramedics took them when they fled. Or the infected have them. Either way, they're locked. Lucia was watching the monitors. Watching the infected move through the halls in organized patterns. They're searching. Looking for survivors. Not just searching, Gutierrez said. Hurting. I've been watching them push people toward the gymnasium for the last hour. Everyone who was alive and running, they get pushed toward the gym. They think they're escaping, but they're walking into a trap. Why the gymnasium? Ventilation system. Gym has the worst air circulation in the building. It's an enclosed space. Air recycles slow. If whatever this is spreads through air, the gym concentrates it. Makes it easier to infect large groups. Mrs. Pacheco went pale. You're saying they understand ventilation systems? I'm saying they're learning. Fast. Faster than anything I've ever seen. He pulled up another feed. The gymnasium. 40, maybe 50 people huddled in the center. Not infected. Not yet. Trying to stay away from the doors where infected were gathering. The gym was surrounded. Infected at every exit. Not attacking. Just waiting. How long do those people have? I asked. Based on what I've seen, maybe an hour. Maybe less. The infection is changing. First wave was bites only. Took 6 hours to turn. Second wave was 2 hours. Third wave. He pointed at a feed showing a classroom where someone was convulsing on the floor. 30 minutes. And I'm seeing evidence it might go airborne. Airborne? That was Mrs. Pacheco. You mean? I mean everyone in that gym is probably already infected. They just don't know it yet. The monitor showed the gym. Showed people who thought they were safe. Showed infected waiting at every exit like they knew exactly what was about to happen. Lucia grabbed my arm. Dad, we need to warn them. We need to. Warn them how? Gutierrez asked. PA system's down. I tried it an hour ago. Electrical fire in the main panel. Whole system's shot. I looked at the office. At the monitors. At the feeds showing the school's electrical closets and panels. Main panel's dead, I said. But the backup generator is still running or these cameras wouldn't work. Which means the emergency circuits are still live. So the PA system runs on emergency power. If the main panel's dead but the generator's running, the problem isn't power, it's the panel itself. Maybe the fire damaged the relays. Maybe the circuit breakers tripped. But if I can get to the electrical room, I can bypass the main panel, route power directly from the generator to the PA system. Gutierrez stared at me. You're an electrician. 25 years. Union Local 47. I rewired this whole wing last year. I know every circuit in this building. The electrical room is in the basement. East wing. Past the tunnels. You'd have to go through, he pointed at the monitors. At the infected packed in the hallways between here and there. I know the route. I've been down there 100 times. Victor. Mrs. Pacheco's voice was quiet. Careful. Even if you get to the electrical room. Even if you bypass the panel and get the PA system working. What then? You warn 40 people in the gym that they're already infected? That they're all going to turn? What does that accomplish? It gives them a chance to get out before. Before what? Before the infected break in? The infected aren't breaking in. They're waiting. They're letting the infection spread naturally. And if you warn those people, all you do is cause panic. You make them rush the exits. You make them fight through infected trying to escape. You get them killed faster. She was right. Warning them didn't save them. Warning them just changed how they died. I looked at Lucia. At her detention slip still crumpled in one hand. At her eyes watching me calculate. Watching me do the math. The electrical room has another access point, I said. Generator controls. If I can get there, I can reroute power anywhere in the building. PA system. Emergency exits. Magnetic locks on the doors. Gutierrez pulled up a schematic on one monitor. Magnetic locks release when power cuts. You could unlock every door in the building. Or I could power the fire exits. The ones with automatic opening systems. The East Wing has 3 of them. Electronic locks that release and doors that push open automatically when the fire alarm trips. The fire alarm shares the same emergency circuit as the PA system, Gutierrez said. You can't power both. It's one or the other. One or the other. PA system to warn 40 people they're infected and doomed. Or fire exits to actually save people by giving them a way out. Lucia was watching me. So was Mrs. Pacheco. So was Natalie, who'd stopped crying and started listening. Started understanding that adults were about to make a choice that determined who lived. How long to bypass the panel? Gutierrez asked. 10 minutes if nothing goes wrong. 20 if I have to improvise. The generator's in the same room as the main panel. I can reroute directly. And if something goes wrong, then I don't come back. Lucia's hand tightened on my arm. Dad. No. You can't. We just got here. We just found safety. You can't leave now to save 40 people? Lucia, if I can power those exits. You can't save 40 people. Her voice cracked. 14 years old and screaming at me in a custodian's office while infected hunted through the school. You can barely save us. Mom always said you think you can fix everything, but some things can't be fixed, and this is one of them. She was crying now. The detention slip fell from her hand. I picked it up, smoothed it out. Talking back equals disrespect in red pen. Mr. Brennan's handwriting. The same Mr. Brennan I'd rewired his house for last year, who'd paid me in cash and asked about family rates. Your mom's right, I said. I do think I can fix things. And maybe I can't fix this. Maybe those 40 people are already dead. But maybe I can give them 10 more minutes. Maybe I can unlock exits that let them run instead of waiting to turn. Maybe that's worth trying. And if you die trying, then you're with Mrs. Pacheco and Gutierrez and you get to the tunnels and you get out. Dad. Lucia. I grabbed her shoulders, looked at her directly. I taught you to talk back to teachers because I wanted you to stand up for yourself. I wanted you to question authority when authority was wrong. Mr. Brennan gave you detention for disrespecting him, but you were right to disrespect him. He was teaching that civil rights movement chapter wrong. You told me. He was glossing over the violence and pretending it was all peaceful protest. You talked back because someone needed to. That's who you are. That's who I raised you to be. This isn't about talking back. This is exactly about talking back. About questioning whether waiting here is the right move. About questioning whether I should try to save those people or just save us. And I'm saying, I have to try. Because if I don't, if I just hide here and watch them die on monitors when maybe I could have done something, I can't live with that. Your mom could. Your mom's smart enough to make peace with hard choices. But I'm not that smart. I'm just a guy who fixes things. And there's people who need fixing. Mrs. Pacheco was silent. Gutierrez was checking the monitors, tracking infected movements, calculating routes. East Wing electrical room, he said finally. Basement level. You can take the maintenance tunnels most of the way, but the last stretch is through the main basement corridor. 20 feet exposed. I'm seeing 4 infected in that area. For I can handle. They're fast now. And coordinating. I know. He pulled out a key ring. Removed 2 keys. This one's for the electrical room. This one's for the emergency generator cage. You'll need both. Don't lose them. I took the keys. Clipped them to my tool belt next to my master lock combination lock and my wire strippers and all the other tools that were supposed to solve problems. Lucia was still crying. You're leaving me again. Just like when you and Mom split. Just like every other weekend when you drop me off and drive away. You're always leaving. That hit harder than anything the infected could do. I always come back, I said. What if you don't this time? Then Mrs. Pacheco gets you out. Then you go to your mom. Then you tell her I died trying to fix something I couldn't fix. She'll understand. She always said that's how I'd go. I hugged Lucia. She hugged back. Hard. 10 minutes, I said. If I'm not back in 30, don't wait. Get to the tunnels. Get out. Gutierrez led me to the maintenance access. Showed me the route on his monitors. Tunnel entrance is through that door. Follow the main line east. When you hit the junction box for the east wing, there's a ladder up. Brings you into the basement corridor. Electrical room is the third door on your left. For infected last I checked, but they're mobile. Could be more by the time you get there. Got it, Reyes. He looked at me. Those 40 people in the gym. Even if you power the exits. Even if they run. Most of them won't make it. You know that, right? Yeah. But you're going anyway. Yeah. He nodded. Open the door. I went through. The tunnels were the same as I remembered from last year. Concrete and conduit, and that industrial smell of rat poison and electrical insulation. My flashlight showed the path forward. I moved fast. Not running. Running makes noise, but fast. Behind me, faint, Lucia's voice calling, Dad, wait. But I couldn't wait. If I waited, I'd think too much. If I thought too much, I'd realize Mrs. Pacheco was right, and this was stupid, and those 40 people were already dead. So I didn't wait. I just moved. The junction box for the east wing was exactly where I remembered. The ladder up was steel, bolted to concrete, leading to a hatch that opened into the basement corridor. I climbed, pushed the hatch open. The basement corridor was dark except for emergency lighting. For infected visible, maybe more in the shadows. They were standing near the electrical room door. Not attacking it, not trying to get in. Just standing, waiting, like they knew someone would come eventually. Like they were learning patience. I eased back down the ladder, closed the hatch, thought. For infected, all between me and the electrical room. All alert, all coordinating. I couldn't fight 4 of them. I had a mag light and a tool belt. That wasn't enough. But I didn't need to fight them. I just needed to distract them. The junction box beside me controlled power for the basement east wing. Circuit breakers clearly labeled. Lighting, HVAC, emergency systems. I found the lighting circuit, flipped it off. The emergency lights in the corridor above went dark. I waited 10 seconds, opened the hatch. The infected had moved, confused, drawn toward the junction box area because that's where the change happened. I climbed up quiet, moved fast. The electrical room was 15 feet away. I made it 12 feet before one of them turned. It saw me, made that wet gurgling sound. I ran, hit the electrical room door. Key and lock. Turned it. Door opened. I dove inside, slammed it through the deadbolt. Something hit the door from outside. Then something else. Then multiple impacts. The infected, attracted by noise, throwing themselves against industrial-grade steel. The door held. I was in. The electrical room was exactly as I remembered. Main panel on the left wall, scorched black from the fire that killed the PA system. Emergency generator in the back corner, humming steady. Backup circuits on the right wall, all labeled, all organized according to the plans I'd drawn last year. PA system circuit, dead. Fire damaged the relays, melted the breakers. No way to repair it in 10 minutes. No way to repair it ever without replacing the whole panel. But the generator was fine, and the emergency circuits were live, and the fire exit system had its own dedicated line that bypassed the main panel entirely. I traced the circuits, found the fire exit controls. 3 exits in the east wing, all electronic locks, all automatic opening systems, all powered by the same emergency line. I could power them, give people a way out, let them run. But there was a problem. The emergency line ran through the gymnasium. To power the east wing exits, I had to power the gym systems too, including the ventilation, including the air circulation that Gutierrez said was helping spread the infection. Power the exits and save people trying to escape. Power the exits and accelerate infection spread in the gym. I stood there with wire strippers in one hand and the circuit diagram in the other, and the distant sound of infected pounding on the door. 10 minutes to decide who lives and how they die. This is what I do. I fix things. I solve problems with tools and knowledge and technical expertise. But this isn't a wiring problem. This is people. And I can't fix people. I can only choose who to try to save. The pounding on the electrical room door was getting louder, more coordinated. They were learning to hit it together, testing for weak points. I ignored them, focused on the panel, on the circuits, on the problem I could actually solve with tools. The fire exit system ran on a dedicated emergency line. clean power, separate from the main building systems. But the circuit path went through the gymnasium's distribution box. Basic electrical design, one main line branches to multiple endpoints. To power the east wing exits, current had to flow through the gym first. And the gym's ventilation system shared that distribution box. I traced the wiring diagram with my finger. 3 exit points. Exit 1, east wing loading dock. The one Gutierrez and the others used. Already accessible. Already safe. Exit 2, 3rd floor east wing. Near room 214 where Lucia had been. Fire escape outside. Electronic lock keeps it sealed during normal operation. Power it and it opens automatically. Exit 3, gymnasium south wall. Emergency exit that leads directly outside. Electronic lock. Opens automatically when powered. The gym exit would save the 40 people trapped inside. If they weren't already infected. If they could reach the door before turning. If the infected surrounding the gym didn't swarm them when they ran. The 3rd floor exit would save. Who? Room 214 was empty now. But maybe there were other people on that floor. Maybe people hiding in classrooms or storage closets. Maybe Lucia if we had to go back up for some reason. Or maybe nobody. Maybe that whole floor was already infected. 1 generator. 2 exit options. Not enough power to run both. Choose. I looked at my watch. 8 minutes since I left the custodian's office. 22 minutes until Lucia and the others would leave without me. The pounding on the door got heavier. Wood splintering somewhere. They were breaking through. Choose now. I grabbed my wire cutters. Opened the emergency panel. The circuits were color-coded. Red for gymnasium. Blue for 3rd floor. Green for loading dock, already powered, already helping Gutierrez and the others. Cut the blue wire and power the gym exit. Save 40 people. Maybe. Cut the red wire and power the 3rd floor exit. Save whoever's up there. If anyone's up there. If Lucia needs it. 40 people I don't know versus maybe people I might need to save later. Math says gym. Simple utilitarian calculus. 40 lives versus unknown. But one of those unknown might be Lucia if things go wrong. If Gutierrez's route to the tunnels fails. If they have to retreat to the 3rd floor. If. The door cracked. Infected hands reaching through the gap. I cut the red wire. Power to the 3rd floor exit. The lights on the panel shifted. Red circuit dead. Blue circuit active. Gymnasium south exit, locked. 3rd floor east exit, open. I chose my daughter. Chose the possibility of my daughter over 40 people who were probably already infected anyway. I chose wrong. I know I chose wrong. But I chose. The infected broke through the door. The deadbolt tore from the frame. 3 of them poured into the room. Fast. Coordinating. I grabbed my mag light. Swung it. Caught the first one across the jaw. The impact barely slowed it. The second one grabbed my arm. The third went for my throat. I fell back against the generator. Metal bit into my spine. The infected on my arm was pulling, trying to bite. I shoved the mag light into its mouth. Pushed hard. Felt teeth crack. It didn't let go. The third one's hands were on my neck. Squeezing. Gray fingers. Skin cold. I was going to die in this electrical room, having saved nobody. Glass shattered. The small window near the ceiling. Something came through. Someone. Gutierrez. Dropped from the window, landed hard, rolled, came up with a fire extinguisher. Swung it like a bat. Caught the infected on my neck, knocked it sideways. Go! I yanked my arm free. The mag light came with it, teeth still embedded in the steel. The infected stumbled. Gutierrez hit it again. Again. I said go. Get to the loading dock. I went. Through the door. Into the corridor. More infected coming from both directions. I ran toward the junction box, toward the hatch, toward the tunnels. Behind me, Gutierrez screamed. I didn't look back. Couldn't look back. Just ran. Made it to the hatch. Down the ladder. Into the tunnels. Behind me, the hatch slammed shut. Something heavy hit it from above. I ran through the tunnels. Flashlight beam jumping. Tool belt jingling. Lungs burning. The main junction was ahead. Left turn takes me to the loading dock. To Gutierrez's office. To Lucia. I turned left. The loading dock access tunnel was clear. I climbed the ladder. Pushed through into the dock area. Empty. Lucia? No answer. Lucia? Nothing. I ran to Gutierrez's office. The monitors were still on. Still showing feeds from around the school. One feed showed the gymnasium. The 40 people inside were convulsing. All of them. Synchronized. The infection had gone airborne, just like Gutierrez predicted. They were all turning. Right now. All at once. The south exit, the one I could have powered, was right there. 10 feet from where they were dying. Locked. Unpowered. If I'd cut the other wire, if I'd chosen them instead of the third floor, they could have gotten out. Could have run. Could have had a chance. But I chose Lucia's potential safety over their actual lives. And they died for it. Another feed showed the third floor east exit. The one I'd powered. The door was open. Automatic system working perfectly. Nobody was using it. The third floor was empty. Everyone already dead or infected or fled. I powered an exit for nobody. Killed 40 people for nobody. Another monitor showed the basement corridor. Showed Gutierrez's body. Showed infected crouched over him. Showed him starting to twitch. Starting to turn. I killed him too. He came to save me and I ran and he died. Dad! I spun. Lucia was standing in the doorway. Mrs. Pacheco and Natalie behind her. We heard you come back, Lucia said. Did it work? Did you power the exits? I looked at the monitors. At the gym full of infected, who used to be people. At the empty third floor exit. At Gutierrez turning in the basement. Yeah, I said. It worked. Lucia hugged me. I knew you'd do it. I knew you'd fix it. Mrs. Pacheco was watching the monitors. She saw the gym. Saw what happened. Saw what my choice cost. She didn't say anything. Just looked at me. Just knew. We need to move, I said. Tunnels to the district maintenance building. Gutierrez said there's vehicles there. Where's Gutierrez? Natalie asked. He's not coming. We went back into the tunnels. Headed east. Toward the maintenance building. Toward vehicles and escape and whatever came next. Behind us, the school was dying. Everyone in it was dying or already dead. 40 people in the gym. Gutierrez in the basement. Brandon and his friend in room 214. All dead because I chose. The tunnel opened into the maintenance building basement. Storage area. Tools and supplies and cleaning chemicals. And beyond that, the vehicle garage. 3 vans. 2 trucks. Keys hanging on a board marked with vehicle numbers. Take the van, Mrs. Pacheco said. Seats 6. We'll fit. I grabbed keys. Van 7. White Ford Transit. District logo on the side. We climbed in. I started the engine. It turned over clean. The garage door opener was on the visor. I hit it. The door rolled up. Outside was suburban afternoon. 3 o'clock. Spring sunshine. The neighborhood looking normal except for the complete absence of people. I drove. North on Elm. Away from Roosevelt High. Away from the school where I'd made the worst choice of my life. Lucia was in the passenger seat. Looking at me. Not saying anything. Mrs. Pacheco was in the back with Natalie. Also not saying anything. We passed houses. Cars and driveways. Nobody visible. No movement except wind in the trees and a sprinkler running on the Brennan's lawn. 3 blocks from the school, we hit the roadblock. Military vehicles. Concrete barriers. Soldiers in hazmat gear. Big sign, contamination zone and no entry. I stopped the van. A soldier approached. Rifle ready but not aimed. Sir, I need you to turn around and... We just came from Roosevelt High. We need medical attention. We need... The soldier's posture changed. Rifle came up. Aimed at me through the windshield. Everyone out of the vehicle now. Hands visible. Now, now, now. More soldiers. Surrounding the van. All armed. All aiming. We got out. Hands up. They separated us. Put us in different areas. Started taking blood samples. Checking our temperature. Checking our eyes. How long were you in the contamination zone? One of them asked me. 3 hours. Maybe 4. Any bites? Any blood contact? No. We avoided. Strip. We need to check for wounds. They checked. Found nothing. I was clean. Lucia was clean. Mrs. Pacheco and Natalie were clean. For survivors from a school with 47 people inside when it started. The others? I asked. The people in the gymnasium? Did anyone else get out? The soldier looked at me. You were in the gymnasium? No. But there were people, 40 people trapped. Roosevelt High Gymnasium was ground zero for the airborne variant. Everyone in that space is infected. No survivors. But the exits, I powered the exits. The exits were locked when our team arrived. Nobody got out. Because I powered the wrong exit. Because I chose Lucia over them. They put us in quarantine. Separate rooms. Observation for 72 hours to confirm we weren't infected. I sat in a white room with a locked door and a security camera, and the image burned into my brain. Lucia emerging from that third-floor exit. The one I'd powered. The one I'd chosen. Walking toward me through the loading dock. Her detention slip somehow still in her hand. Pristine white paper against the blood on her clothes. Blood that wasn't hers. Blood from people we'd left behind. Behind her, through the windows, I could see the gymnasium. Could see shapes moving inside. Could see the 40 people I'd condemned by choosing wrong. The detention slip said, talking back equals disrespect in red pen. I'd disrespected 40 lives. Chosen disrespect for their deaths. Chosen my daughter over them. The right choice. The wrong choice. Both true. Both permanent. They released me after 6 days. Not 72 hours. 6 days. Said they needed to run additional tests. Said the infection was mutating faster than expected. Said they couldn't risk releasing anyone who might be carrying a dormant variant. 6 days in quarantine watching news footage of the outbreak spreading. Watching maps turn red. Watching cities get marked as contamination zones. Watching the world learn what I'd learned in that electrical room. Some problems can't be fixed with tools. Lucia was released the same day. They brought us to the same processing center. Chain link fence, military tents, registration tables. Gave us papers. Survivor documents. Proof we'd been cleared. She didn't look at me. Didn't talk to me. Just stood there holding her papers and staring at nothing. Mrs. Pacheco was there. Natalie too. Both cleared. Both being released to family. Your mother's outside, Mrs. Pacheco told Lucia. She's been waiting. Lucia walked past me. Didn't say goodbye. Didn't say anything. I watched her go through the gate. Watched her mother grab her, hug her, cry into her hair. Watched Lucia stand there rigid, not hugging back, not crying, just existing. Her mother looked at me, mouthed something. Maybe thank you. Maybe I hate you. Probably both. They left. Mrs. Pacheco stayed behind. Waited until the others were gone. Then looked at me. The gymnasium, she said. You powered the third-floor exit instead. Yeah. Because of Lucia. Yeah. 43 people died in that gym. I've been watching the reports. 43 people who could have gotten out if you'd powered the south exit instead. I know. 2 of them were from Lucia's class. Devin Reeves. The one she drew the heart around in the stairwell. He was in the gym. And Natalie's older sister. She was a volunteer coach. Both dead. I didn't know what to say. What is there to say when someone tells you the math of your choice? Lucia knows, Mrs. Pacheco said. They showed her the casualty list during quarantine. Standard procedure, identifying victims, confirming relationships. She saw Devin's name. She asked the techs what happened. They told her about the exits, about which one was powered. She figured out the rest. She won't talk to me. No, she won't. Mrs. Pacheco adjusted her papers, her survivor documents, her proof that she'd lived while others died. Victor, I need you to understand something. In that electrical room, you made a choice. You chose to save your daughter over 40 strangers. That's what parents do. That's what love looks like in a crisis. But Lucia's 14, and 14-year-olds don't understand that kind of math yet. She knows you chose her over Devin. She knows Devin died so she could have an exit she never even used. And she knows that's on you, and on her. And she's going to carry that until she's old enough to understand why you made that choice. If she ever is. How long? I don't know. Years maybe. Maybe longer. Maybe never. She walked toward the gate. Stopped. Turned back. For what it's worth, I would have made the same choice. My son's grown now, but if he'd been in that building, if I'd had to choose between him and 40 strangers, I would have chosen him. Every time. And I would have carried the guilt every day after. She left. I stood there in the processing center holding my papers and thinking about Lucia's detention slip. Thinking about white paper against red blood. Thinking about choices that save one person by killing 40. 6 months later. I work in the red zones now. Quarantine electrician. Local 47 got a federal contract maintaining the barriers between infected zones and safe zones. Someone's got to keep the fences powered. Someone's got to make sure the alarm systems work. Someone's got to check the floodlights every night. That someone is me. The pay's good. Hazard pay plus federal rates. Most guys won't work the red zones, but I don't mind. Infected don't scare me anymore. I've seen them learn. I've seen them coordinate. I've seen them wait at exits they somehow knew people would use. Nothing surprises me now. I maintain Barrier 47, the one that separates Roosevelt High from the rest of the suburb. The school's a total loss. Too many infected. Too dangerous to clear. They just walled it off, left it standing, turned it into a containment zone. Sometimes I see them through the fence. The infected, still moving, still hunting, still learning. 6 months later, and they're still evolving, still getting smarter. Gutierrez is in there somewhere. Brandon. Devin Reeves with the detention slip and the heart drawn in the stairwell. All of them still walking around in what used to be a school. I check the barrier every day. Make sure the power's stable. Make sure the alarms work. Make sure nobody gets out. It's what I do. I fix things. I maintain things. I make sure the technical solutions keep working even when everything else has failed. Lucia hasn't talked to me in 6 months. Her mother sends updates. Weekly emails. Lucia's seeing a therapist. Lucia joined the debate team. Lucia got accepted to a survivor support group. Never. Lucia wants to see you. Never. Lucia forgives you. I text her every week. Same message. Love you. Here if you need me. She never responds. Mrs. Pacheco was right. 14-year-olds don't understand crisis math. Don't understand that love sometimes looks like choosing. Don't understand that saving them means sacrificing others. Maybe when she's older. Maybe when she's 24, 34, 44. Maybe then she'll understand why I cut the red wire instead of the blue. Why I chose her potential safety over 40 actual lives. Or maybe she'll never understand. Maybe she'll spend her whole life hating me for choosing her. For making her complicit in Devin's death. For making her carry the weight of 43 people who died so she could have an exit she never used. The detention slip is in my truck. I found it on the loading dock that day. Must have fallen when she hugged me. White paper. Red pen. Talking back equals disrespect. I keep it in the glove box. Look at it sometimes when I'm maintaining Barrier 47. When I'm standing outside Roosevelt High watching infected move through the windows. When I'm thinking about choices and costs and the difference between right and wrong. The paper's not white anymore. Blood stained it brown months ago. But the words are still visible. Still legible. Still true. The infection's still evolving. Everyone knows it. The news doesn't talk about containing it anymore. They talk about managing it. About living with the new reality. Red zones and green zones. Infected territories and safe territories. Barriers between them that need constant maintenance. That's where I come in. I can't fix Lucia. Can't fix the fact she won't talk to me. Can't fix the guilt that wakes me up at 3 a.m. with images of the gymnasium. Can't fix the way I replay that moment in the electrical room. Wire cutters in hand, choosing which circuit to cut, choosing who lives. But I can fix barriers. Can fix power systems. Can fix technical problems that have technical solutions. Some days that's enough. Some days it's not. Today I'm working on Barrier 47's north section. Someone reported a voltage drop. Probably just a loose connection, but I need to check. Need to make sure the fence stays powered. Need to make sure the infected stay inside. I park my truck, same gray F-150, tires replaced, but still has the slashed rubber smell if you know what to smell for. Tool belt on. Maglite on my hip. Same tools. Same job. Different world. The barrier hums. 40,000 volts running through chain link. Enough to stop anything that touches it. Enough to keep Roosevelt High sealed. I find the loose connection. Junction box near the northwest corner. 5-minute fix. Basic electrical work. While I'm working, I see movement inside the fence. Infected. Maybe 20 of them. Gathered near the gymnasium windows. Just standing there. Not hunting. Not coordinating. Just standing. Waiting. Like they know something. Like they've learned something new. The infection's still spreading. Still evolving. Stage 5 isn't the end. Maybe there's a stage 6. Maybe stage 10. Maybe it never stops evolving. Maybe I'll be maintaining these barriers for the rest of my life. Maybe that's my purpose now. Maybe that's my penance. I fix the connection. Test the voltage. 40,000 volts. Stable. Good. My phone buzzes. Text message. Unknown number. I open it. Dad. It's me. I need to talk. Can we meet? Lucia. 6 months of silence, and now she wants to talk. I stare at the message. At the words. At the possibility that maybe she's ready to understand. Or at least ready to try. I text back. Yes. Anywhere. Anytime. 3 dots. She's typing. Then they stop. Then start again. Then stop. Then, the coffee place on Mockingbird. Tomorrow at 2. Tomorrow at 2. Mockingbird Street. 3 blocks from Roosevelt High. 3 blocks from Barrier 47. 3 blocks from where I made the worst choice of my life and saved her anyway. I look at the school, at the infected standing by the gymnasium windows, at the barriers keeping them contained, at the detention slip in my glove box, at the choice I made 6 months ago that saved my daughter and killed 43 people, at the question of whether she'll forgive me for choosing her. Tomorrow at 2 I'll find out, or I won't. Either way, the barriers still need maintenance. The voltage still needs checking. The infected still need containing. And I'll be here, doing what I do, fixing what I can fix, carrying what I can't.